What up, Bomb First Family? I'm here with a interview that well, I'll just say an interview that we're going to do with a young lady that currently is suing uh, a bunch of people. Um, Her name is Lydia Harris. Miss Lydia Harris. She's the ex-wife of Michael Harriot. And doing this interview with her, a lot of people are going to have a problem and wonder why I elected and Bomb first elected to do this interview over here. But uh, she's currently suing somebody. I was getting sued by somebody, and someone keep going over there doing interviews with them, and I informed them of it. So I decided it's okay for me to go ahead and do an interview with her. So she's currently suing Death Row Records, Marion Suge Knight, Calvin Brodus, which is Snoop Dogg, Interscope Records, Jimmy Iovine, Interscope, Ted Fields, Time Warner, David Cohen, Universal Music Group, Luciana Grange, David Kidder. Oh, I didn't catch that. And Mickey Shapiro. So she suing all of these people. And we want this to go and get the reasoning behind the lawsuit and in her own words. And we're going to go ahead and get her interview and we're going to talk to her, ask her some questions about this. We're going to ask her some questions about the movie Welcome to Death Row and the startup of Death Row and all of that. So this probably be a two-part uh, interview. But so, in her words, I'm not saying confirming or denying it, but the co-founder of Death Row Records and the recipient of $107 million judgment from Death Row Records, Miss Lydia Harris.
Hello, welcome everybody. How y'all doing?
Cool, cool, cool. So we'll first start off with just if you can explain a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with Death Row and you and Michael and about the time period and all of that and all the because there's so many misconceptions about you guys and I just got to throw it out there, you guys, just because I'm allowing her to speak her truth doesn't mean that Bomb First or Reggie or anybody like that agrees with it. But I let everybody. I believe everybody has a voice and should be able to tell their side of the story. And as you know, when she was around, I wasn't around, so I can't contradict anything she said about time periods until after she started talking about '95. Go ahead, Miss
Okay.
Harris.
Okay, well, back in 95, and really, I know everybody done heard this, that, or another old news, but I got into the Death Row scene when I was coming there for Dr. Dre to produce a song. And
Okay.
so when he agreed to produce a song, I told my ex, Michael Harris, I said, hey, they need a little help. And he said, what do you mean by that? I said, they need a little money behind them. And that's how one thing led to another. As me coming there for Dr. Dre to be able to produce a song called Do You Still Love Me? And Dr. Dre agreed to it. So I met Dr. Dre. I met
Okay.
everybody in the studio. And they was hungry.
I did remember hearing that you used to do a lot of cooking and bring food around. I
Yeah,
did hear that. So okay, but you meant hungry in another way, meaning they needed help, financial help.
that's correct.
Okay, I got you.
And so I told Michael, because, Michael was incarcerated. So
Uh huh.
he said, hey, uh, he got in touch with David Kennedy. He said, I think we got a way to get into the music business. And when he
Okay.
told David Kenner was all excited because he wanted to meet Dr. Dre.
Okay.
So Suge set up a meeting and we all went to Solar Studios. And
Okay.
he brought his kids and everybody was excited. And that's how it all began.
When you say he brought his kids, who are you speaking of?
David Kenner brought his kids,
Okay,
his
his daughter
daughter.
and son. And
Yes.
son. Okay.
and they was
Okay.
intrigued because everybody knew who Dr. Dre was.
Okay. Okay. Now there's a son or something like that, a boy. Was he one of the ones that they always talk about? That this like a stepson or adopted son of David Kenner's? Was he one of the kids that was there as well?
Well, yes, it was Linda's
Okay.
son. Yes.
Okay. 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 Um. All right. So we got that. You was around the studio now. This is what Suge say. Have always told me, and that he really got involved with you guys mainly because uh, y'all told him that y'all had some dealings with Lil J, because I know y'all from Texas or something like that, and that y'all had ownership or something like that, or was
No,
something behind
it
the
wasn't even
Ghetto
like
Boys or a
that.
group. Go ahead.
No, it wasn't like that.
Okay.
It was a award show
Okay.
uh, in L.A. Suge
Okay.
didn't want to meet Jay Prince, and Jay Prince came down to the award show, and I introduced Jay Prince and Suge because Suge didn't want to meet him. It wasn't
Okay.
nothing about who owned the Ghetto Boys or Rap a Lot Records, nothing like that.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So you currently is about you recently okay. Let me just ask you this. So were you involved, or do you know anything about the funding, or did Michael give any money to Suge, or how did that all come up, other than you just telling them that they were hungry?
Well, they was hungry, and all the funding and all of that, that's old news. You know what I'm saying? Everybody know what
Okay.
really happened. That's how I want
Yeah.
to live.
Okay. So you let the
There
record
wasn't
stand at
there wasn't no money at that time.
okay, and I don't think nobody disputes that. You know
Okay.
that it was wrong. Okay, I don't think anyone disputes that. It just disputes that where the money came from. Because Suge, he would say if he was on his phone that the money that they had came from chocolate and the vanilla ice situation. You know anything about that,
No,
or do you think that money was dried up?
I don't know nothing about that. Because when I went there,
Okay,
there wasn't no. I didn't see nobody with no money.
okay. Did you know
No,
anything
and
about
knowing
that?
Michael, the type
Okay,
of person, he was going to get involved. He had David Kenner to do his due diligence. So when Suge says that, I don't understand what he mean by that.
okay, okay. So the uh, what you mean? What you don't mean by what? What you mean by that?
What he mean that chocolate gave money or whatever. I don't know what he means by like if everything was everything.
Got you. Okay, the vanilla ice situation and stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay. Um, what was your relationship with Virgil Robertson and Dick Griffey and them? Did you know them yet, or you just met them along with Chuck?
I met them at the studio.
Met them at the studio. Okay. Okay. All right. So, if there's any stories that you remember from being around there, because I remembered you sued Suge once before, or was threatening to sue Suge when he did an interview on Wendy Williams' show where he said some offensive words towards you and Snoop's
Right,
mother.
when he defamed me. So that's how
Yeah.
all this here unraveled into
Okay.
where we at now.
Yeah. Okay. When he said that on the radio station. Okay.
Yes,
And
when he
so
opened his mouth up and said that, so everything boiled
that's
down to
what
what it
made
is
you
today.
decide to reopen the lawsuit, or to go ahead and sue him. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it wasn't reopening a lawsuit. That's what made everything transpire to be in a lawsuit.
Well, when I say reopen, because there was a lawsuit in '95 or 90. Well, I know it got settled around 95, 96.
Not with
But there
me.
was a lawsuit before.
Not with me.
You
It
didn't.
wasn't
You weren't a
settled.
part of that.
No,
Gotcha.
it wasn't settled with me.
Okay. But Harry, I believe, got either 300,000 or 350,000 from Interscope. I believe.
But that was something that Jimmy Iovine and the instructors with David Corns them, and that's what they came up with that to give Michael 300,000. But you got to
Okay.
understand, Michael was incarcerated. So
Okay.
with that said and done, a prisoner can't do business from jail. So you got to ask them that question. Why did you sign a release for Michael? They
So
never
who
signed.
signed it? Was the attorney? You didn't have you didn't sign it or anything?
Oh no, I wasn't even on
Okay.
there. That's
You
where it
weren't.
comes
Okay.
in there with the fraudulent paperwork.
Got you. Okay. Now I know you and Michael were still married at that time, but were y'all together? You know how some people be estranged and stuff, or were y'all still considered, you know, husband? I know you officially considered husband and wife, but were you estranged at that time, even though he was in prison?
No, I mean, what time frame are you talking about?
I'm talking about when they made the settlement to get the 300,000.
I think me and Michael were still married.
Well, of course y'all were married. Yeah, I know when y'all
Yeah.
got divorced when the second issue came up. Okay. So what I was just trying to get at, was you still a part of that, or did you benefit anyhow from the 300,000? Which,
No, I didn't.
yeah,
No, I didn't benefit from the 300,000. That's why they was trying to go back and keep open up the bankruptcy,
got
3 times, because they was trying to embrace that they didn't have any standings on that.
Okay. So when did you file for bankruptcy?
You talking? That was a personal bankruptcy that I filed for. My
Gotcha.
personal
Okay.
bankruptcy.
Yeah, because I know Shug, in talking with Shug, he always had claimed that you you guys are have represented in the bankruptcy of something like David Kenner was your partner, and then David Kenner filed for bankruptcy in like '99 or 2000, and he didn't claim any of the percentage to death row, and that's why he
But see,
has
I
an
don't know
issue with
what
all of it.
our legal terms are, who filed what in whatever years, and I didn't even know David Kennedy had filed bankruptcy. So with that
Okay.
said, that it was all kind of moving parts because everybody was trying to cover up what they know they had did. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah. Okay.
It was a cover up.
It was a big cover up. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So where do all of the do you know anything about the other people, the other alleged investors that Harry supposedly brought into the table? Like PJ, Pat, or anybody like that? Do you know any of those dealings?
No, no, that was
You don't know any
it.
of those dealings?
No.
Because that I can honestly say, and like I said, I'm so disappointed with Suge right now because, for some personal reasons, but uh, he has always maintained. But one thing I don't do is lie on him.
Mhm.
But he has always maintained, and I can honestly say I was sitting by him one time when he asked David, uh, David, did this? You told me that this guy was broke. You know that the court proceedings had pretty much drained him, and he and he said, but did he give any money, or did other people give money? And David had said, looked at him right there and said, oh no, he didn't give any money. He just connected people or something like that.
Who
What
said
would you
that?
say, David said that to Shell?
Oh, I don't know nothing about that conversation.
Well, I know you didn't know about the conversation, but I'm just saying he was pretty much saying Michael didn't give any money. He just introduced people to invest into Death Row at the time.
That's what David said to you.
That's what that's what a conversation I heard between David and Shug. Yes,
Oh, okay. Well, no. See, all of that, like I told you, everybody was trying to cover up what really happened, and
gotcha.
they all know what really happened.
And I
That's
believe David could have been lying. Yeah, I could have believed that David could have been lying because I really believe David was taking the money and maybe dueling it to Shug or whatever is what my
But see,
personal
my whole
belief.
thing is that everybody keeps talking about the money, the money, the money, and
Okay.
that's the
But
that's the
that's all that the Harris brought to the table, right? Would be the money. It's not like you brought an artist or anything to the table.
that's what I'm saying to you. And everybody, they said they so confused behind who brought the money. Suge knows, Dre knows, all of them know how everything got started,
Gotcha.
and that's something
Uh,
that I don't want to keep going back and forth, but they
Okay,
know.
okay, okay. All right, all right. We'll skip
Where
past
we at
that.
now is that everybody made money and they never paid me. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's fighting, but at the end of the day, if you look at everything, they use Suge. You know what I'm saying to you? Who
Okay,
told him not
okay.
to go to court? He got a default judgment.
Yeah,
He can
yeah.
go to court eight
I
times.
didn't understand that at all. Yeah,
You see what
I
I'm saying to
wasn't
you?
around him at that time, and I hate that I wasn't. But I hate that he did not go and fight that, and because in my opinion, all he had to say was, I settled this case with them when When Harry got the 300,000.
No, but you
Or
got
the,
to understand that's why this new case is showing that all the defendants they have to be accountable for what is going on now. You see what I'm saying to you? Everything is unraveling right now based on what happened. I lived it, so everybody is confused. Even Suge might be confused, or he might know now, and his eyes might open up now of how I'm coming. Because if you look at it, they all tried to get out the back door. All the other money people got out the back door, and we still stuck with nothing. Suge's in jail. You know what I'm saying to you?
yeah. Yeah.
I'm fighting,
Uh-huh.
and I'm not giving up. I'm not a
Okay.
liar. And one thing about
Okay.
Suge, know that I'm solid.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Now,
that's why I'm coming the way I'm coming now.
I got you, and please conduct your, respond to me however you want. I got you. Please. I heard, and I don't know. I heard you and Suge talk within the last few months or whatever. What is you and Suge's relationship currently? How do you look at it?
We hadn't talked in the last 2 months. Suge made maybe it's been about a year and a half.
Okay.
One thing about it, when Suge talked it to me,
Okay.
he
Always
gave
respectful.
me, yeah, all respectful, and
Yeah.
he,
Yeah.
when I told him the last conversation I had with Suge, I said, hey, I sent over some paperwork and did a cease and desist. And he said, you did? And he said, hey, the ones you should be going after is Universal. He said, that's the money
Okay.
people. So
Yeah.
Suge, he knows what's going on, but this is going to open his eyes up of how he really did everybody.
One thing when I told him, yeah, because I'm the one that informed him about the lawsuit, and when I informed him about the lawsuit, he was like, "Oh man, good. Now motherfuckers gonna have to put the shit on the table."
There you go.
And he did say that was his exact words. So
that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
They got to put it all on the table now because I sat back, Reggie, and watched everybody. You don't know me. I don't know you, and I know you said, hey, a couple of things on the thing, but I don't get emotional about it because I don't fool with nobody, and when I come 100%.
Yes, correct.
And I think that at the end of the day, everybody needs to cut it out.
Okay.
And let's get the bag.
Gotcha.
That's where I'm at with it.
Gotcha. Okay, I got a tape recording of Michael. I had a bunch of his phone calls when he was in prison that we had gotten, and when he was talking about how you were going to take this check from Suge, and then the next day he was going to file, like pretty much saying how he was going to take this bag, I was going to work Suge out of this money, and then then they were going to do whatever they had to do to him. What did he mean by that? Was that the intention when you got the $1 million from Suge?
I don't know about that. That's the first I'm hearing of that.
Yeah, I'll play it.
I'm hearing about that.
I'll play what he said, and where he said, he gonna talk to Lydia, get her back in the fold, and he said, I'm gonna get her back in the fold. She gonna do this little whoop de whoop, and then she gonna come back in the fold. Is what he was saying when he was talking to his attorney.
You know, okay. You got to understand something. Like I told you, there's so much, going on, and everybody had different ideas of how they was going to maneuver me and do this or that. That's the first I ever heard of this.
Gotcha. So I'll get back to the question, pretty much is, so when you took the $1 million lead settlement or whatever,
no,
was that a play or?
No, you got to understand. I'm talking about the $3 million that Suge told me that Jimmy gave him, and Suge gave me $1 million based on a good faith payment. That's what it was.
It was supposed to be a payment.
For $1 million.
Okay.
Never did a deal for $1 million.
Now,
you got to understand something. They took the paperwork from and they can go look in the courts. The Mark Givens took some paperwork, fraudulent paperwork, and tried to put it on the back page and said it was a settlement, and the judge threw it out of court. So if you
threw it out.
And look that up. That's on record. I never did a deal for $1 million.
Okay. So Why did Suge give you the $1 million? What did he think it was? Was it a
A good
settlement
faith
plan?
payment. No, a good
Oh,
faith payment because we was going to try to work out some things. And then the next
well,
thing I know, she'll file BK when we were supposed to go.
no. The next thing happened is Harry filed for divorce and said you have no rights to negotiate on his behalf.
No,
Is the
that was
next thing
after
that
the fact.
happened.
That was after the fact.
Okay. Okay. So let's get into the lawsuit. So, you filed a lawsuit this week on the
Yes,
18th of March,
that's correct.
and what is your? I see you prefer, and I noticed you laid it out pretty good. So, but what's your reason? So, are you looking for an attorney currently to take it on, or you plan on taking
No,
it
I
on
got an
yourself?
attorney. I got an attorney
Oh,
out of New York, Paul Schittler.
okay,
He's a attorney out of New York.
okay,
He's a transnational lawyer to make a deal.
okay.
I did it here in Houston because I resigned here in Houston. But you got
Correct.
lawyers
Okay.
coming at me. I just need them to settle.
Yeah. So that's your ultimate goal is just to get them to settle.
Yes, because they don't, all what I have, they need to take me serious. And I think a lot of people haven't been taking me serious because I'm out here. They feel alone. They underestimated me
I'm
because,
gonna have my partner John right now read you the people that's all sued, and then we'll talk about them and your reasoning and what you want them to do. John, if
okay,
you can read the people that's been currently sued by Miss Harris.
Okay, yes. The people notated on the lawsuit are Death Row Records Incorporated, Marion Suge Knight, Snoop Dogg, Interscope Records, Jimmy Iovine, Interscope Communications, Ted Fields, Time Warner, David Cohen, Universal Music Group, Lucian Grange, David Kenner, and Mickey Shapiro.
Okay. How
all
did
those,
Mickey
uh-huh,
How did Mickey get involved? That's the only one I don't know anything about. I know he's the
uh-huh.
attorney.
Mika Shapiro is the one who went down and when Michael got sick in prison. He's
Okay.
the one who went down, and that's how he negotiated agreement with Michael for the 300,000.
Now, when you talk about Michael getting sick in prison, that's when in your film. I never watched the film, to be honest. I always hate to watch it, but my partner John asked, and he told me in that scene there was something where they alleged that Suge, or not Suge, that David Kenner tried to poison Michael. Is that the time that you're
Yes,
saying
that's
when
what.
he got sick?
Yes,
Okay,
that's
okay,
correct.
okay. And so Mickey took over as the attorney, but you saying he did some trickery there towards you or towards Michael?
Well, I guess they thought that Michael was going to die, so he came in, and that's how he got the release signed um, for Michael to get the 300,000. That's why I said that's
Got
everybody's
you. So
accountable for
okay,
what they've done. Everybody that he named on the thing, they was the insiders. Based on
okay,
everybody acted, and that was a conspiracy of everything that's going on with me suing now. Everybody had a part of what's going on in this
got
case.
you. So
Everybody,
why did you name Snoop in the lawsuit?
because Snoop acquired Death Row Records.
Okay, so you do believe he is the owner
No,
of Death Row Records? You do
no,
believe that?
I don't believe that. I mean,
Okay, yeah.
how is that?
That's
How is
why.
that the case?
Got you. Yeah. But that's what he claiming. So he gets dragged into it since he want to be the front man, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that how that happened.
Yeah.
Death Row still has a
And
debt.
and to your point, that's one of the things that, and I know that's one of the things that Suge wants put on the table. That's glad it will be exposed.
Yes, and you got the powers to be. They all initiated what was going on. So
Gotcha.
that's how everybody got pulled in. Everybody plays a part in what I
Okay.
saw, and I can prove it.
Okay.
I have the
So
facts.
gotcha. So just to recap, your reasoning for filing the lawsuit is because you number one, you was married to Michael Ariel and y'all invested in the company. The 300,000 that was given to Harriel in
No, this ain't
1995.
got nothing to do with Michael. This
I
is with
got you.
Lydia Harris.
Well, you being the wife of him at the time, so y'all 50-50 partners.
You saying that
You
what
and
I
Michael.
filed on the 18th?
No, 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 no. 50-50 partners of the investment into Death Row.
You saying we 50? Me and Michael 50 50?
Y'all were 50-50 partners when y'all invested into Death Row, or did he just invest into it on your behalf, or
Well,
was it
Michael was
him?
incarcerated, so at the end of the day, prisoners not able to do deals. So you know what I'm saying to you. So I don't
So
know.
you saying Michael never was a co-founder? Then it was you
No,
that was a
I'm not
co-founder.
saying that. You're saying that.
Okay. Okay.
What you're saying is that me and Michael was together. We was one. So if you
Okay.
want to call it 50-50 partners, you can.
That's
But
what I meant. And that's
okay,
what I meant. Yeah, that's
okay,
what I meant. Yeah.
okay.
And I'm just trying to recap so
No, I know
people
what
know
you're
the
saying.
timeline. Okay.
Mhm.
So that's where we got the investment initially. So then the agreement that was done in '95 or '96 for the $300,000, you saying you had no knowledge of it, and
No,
that it was
that
done
wasn't
through.
my agreement.
It wasn't your agreement, correct? I'm just recapping for the people.
Okay.
Okay. And then they got the 300,000, and you had no part of that agreement. You didn't give up any of your rights or whatever.
That now
And
you got
then
it.
okay, and then later on in what the agreement for the $1 million, that was just a payment toward a good faith settlement or a good faith
No, it was
payment.
no settlement. We're not going to use the word
I,
settlement. Never
okay,
was a settlement.
okay,
There was no paperwork on that $1 million that Suge gave me. Because if it was, it'll be floating around right now.
got you.
And you can put
Okay,
Suge on the phone. There never was discussed the agreement.
got you. Okay, okay, okay. And then attorney Givens, you said did some fraudulent act.
Yeah, Jimmy went
Now,
behind my back and tried to reopen up the bankruptcy. And I had a friend to go down to the courts. And they the one let me know that he was trying to do something because it was during COVID time. And then I got the judge.
oh, you
You know,
talking about
we
recently?
did a
Okay,
Zoom call. And we
okay,
did a
yeah, you
Zoom
talking about
call, and the
recently?
judge got
Yeah,
on the phone, and we did a Zoom call. And Givens was shocked, and the judge asked me, did I know about that he was trying to reopen up the bankruptcy? I said no. So she told Givens, don't come back in my court, and you're not opening up this bankruptcy.
got you. But you talking like 2020 or 2021?
That's correct.
Yeah, I'm talking about when the $1 million settlement was done. Or not, you hate that word, and so I won't say it. That when the $1 million good faith payment was given to you in like 2005, I guess. Vice Ship, you saying because I heard Lamont was. We always thought Lamont, as I remember, was playing both sides. He was telling us one thing and then playing you and telling you one thing, because he had even kind of insinuated like you and him was in some type of relationship
Oh,
or
come
something.
on now. Never, the Monk Givens never disrespected me at all on no
Okay.
relationship type.
Okay. Okay.
None of that. So,
Okay.
and the Monk Givens ain't my type of guy.
No, I could.
So
Yeah.
I don't even
Okay.
know how that came about.
Okay.
For some reason, he might have.
Well, the person I deal with, he likes to clown a bit. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay.
the Monk Givens probably was working both sides because you know what? He knew a lot. The Monk Givens probably played both sides, and he had a lot of information.
Yeah. Well, I know he got socked in the stomach real good behind that back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, okay. So all right. Okay. So I guess we covered your reasoning for the lawsuit.
Yeah.
I guess you like you said, you're going after the big dogs.
Hey,
Everybody in there.
listen, Reggie.
Okay.
There's more to come. Believe me.
There's more to come. Okay. My partner
And I
John
just
gonna
wasn't ready for the video interview. You know what I'm saying to you? But there's more to come, Reggie.
Okay, well, hey, you have the platform to do it with us, but let my partner. I don't like to exclude him because he's been waiting. He's been wanting to interview you for a long time. So let him ask you a few questions,
Okay.
and I think we covered, the basis of the lawsuits and what's going on. I think it's going to be good just to see all of this play out and open up, and I'm kind of rooting for you to get everything on the table and get it out.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Okay, John, go with your questions that you
Okay.
would like to ask us.
Okay.
Ms. Harris.
Ms. Harris, thanks for doing this. I wanted to ask, obviously people know that with the previous lawsuit, you were awarded a judgment of $107 million.
Okay.
Did you obviously, Suge filed for bankruptcy after that. Did you receive anything out of that, or did it all go to other people that made claims against Death Row at
All
the
the
time?
people that made claims, never got anything from it.
Damn. Okay. Going back to, and I'll just touch on this a little bit. If it's something
Hmm.
that you feel like everybody knows and you don't want to talk about, that's fine. But Welcome to Death Row was really the first proper Death Row documentary that was ever done. Can you tell our listeners like your involvement with the documentary? And I know you were interviewed in it, and I know you had a big part in it. But can you just share a little bit of insight about Welcome to Death Row and the thought behind putting that documentary together?
What happened with the Welcome to Death Row? I was the executive producer of that documentary, Release Savage, and my deal with him was for me to get all the people that would come out and tell the story. And halfway down the line, if I didn't pursue and get the people, then I wouldn't have been an executive producer. So what happened was I did everything to put everybody in place to come on there and talk. So that's how my involvement in that. I got him everybody that he needed, and I think it didn't come out for whatever reason the way it needed to come out. But I was the executive producer of that, Release Savage.
Okay. And to Reggie's point earlier, you were around obviously in the early days of Death Row. Um, are there any events or parties that you can tell us about that were good memories for you, whether it was an album release party or whether it was a company function or any of that? Are there any things that stick out in your mind when you think back of those early days?
You know, when we did the Chronic album, and everybody came out. I mean, everybody was there, and then we did the Tastings party. Oh, that was some good memory days because I'm like saying, "Hey, it's on," you know. But then everything took a turn.
Okay. And
Every
I think that's what people, or at least for myself, that's what the pain, when I think about what happened and I read about things that happened, it makes me believe that you guys were around for the Chronic, and then soon after that, that's when Suge kind of stopped taking phone calls and stuff. Is that true, or were you around a bit longer, like into the Doggy Style album or Murder Was the Case and things like that?
I was around, but I never. You got to understand something. I never got involved with partying with them. You know what I'm saying to you? I
Mm,
never was on the scene like that. But me and Suge talked. You know what I'm saying? He would go down there to visit my ex, him and David Kenner. So when they said the phone calls stopped coming, I don't know what you're talking about, but it was like um, things started to change. You know, when Michael started asking different questions,
mhm.
but it just didn't break off where they saying, "Oh, we're not going to talk to you all anymore." And then I got pregnant, but no, it wasn't. It wasn't like that.
Gotcha. Okay. And the reason I stated that was I and I could be wrong on this, but I thought I remembered in Welcome to Death Row they talked about there being a phone in the studio that was exclusive for Michael to call in, and that eventually that phone was removed from the studio at some point. I guess they may not have been very clear on the timing on that, but yeah, that's where I got that from. Um,
Oh,
Okay, and for people that like, they know about the lawsuit, but they're not going to go read the paperwork.
I
Um,
know.
what would you feel like are the biggest differences between your original lawsuit in which you got the $107 million judgment versus this new lawsuit that you filed on March 18th?
Well, when you asked me the question, did I ever get paid from it, where it's going to show how the $107 million judgment was not alleged for me to get paid, you will show how the individuals who's going to be accountable for making sure that I didn't get a payment from the $107 million judgment. You will see. That's why you will see the fraudulent, and you'll see the conspiracy and how they conspired against that $107 million judgment. And Suge will see too once it's all laid out based on how everybody was moving.
Hmm.
You know,
Okay,
Suge was used. I mean, he took one for the team
okay,
and
and
lost nothing.
gotcha. And if everything works out the way you want it to work out, if everything kind of gets unveiled the way that you envision it happening, what is the best case result for you? Like, what are you hoping to gain?
to move on with my life and put this behind me and live my life. But I can't just give up and just let them take anything from me. And then everybody will be rewarded. And, I don't mind helping whoever. I'm just not going to be taken advantage of. And I'm not afraid. And I know I'm fighting against the big boys, but I'm not afraid.
Okay. And so are you hoping to get that 107 million, or are you hoping just to get what you feel is fair? Is it, I guess my question is it a monetary thing, or is it more of you want your credit for what you did?
No, it ain't about the credit. It's about me getting paid.
Okay. Okay. All right. Reggie, is there anything from
Oh, I just
those?
want
Yeah.
that. How
Yeah,
much
go ahead.
would you estimate that y'all invested in the company uh, initially? What would you think?
I don't even know. I ain't never thought about that.
Okay. And how was the payments made? Was it done by checks or cash or what?
You have to ask David Kenneth that question.
Okay. So it went through David, and then David gave it to Shug, is what you said?
David. So David that was his job to make sure everything got done the way it needs to be done.
Okay. So about what time do you feel that David turned on Terrio and became more loyal to Shug?
I can't tell you the years, because David.
Yeah. Because I know about like 94, 95, they started having me ride up in the car with, and I didn't even understand why. And I didn't even realize they started having me riding up in the car to go with David when he would go to out to the prison in Lancaster or Palmdale.
Oh, you went up there?
I never went in. I just sat in the car and was riding with him. Never understood why. They never even told me why I was doing that.
Hey, you just got in the car and started riding, huh?
Yeah, they was like, "Hey, Richie, I need you to ride up then with David to he going to visit Michael."
I mean, I don't even know really where I went wrong, because I'm gonna tell you, Reggie, it was love. You know what I'm saying to you? It was love between Michael and Suge. Suge was like a brother. I can't even tell you right today why they fight. You know what I'm saying to you? Because everybody was on the right track and understood what this was supposed to be. So you saying something that I don't understand, how the divide and conquer came. For real. No, for
the
real.
Mercedes. The Mercedes, it was a 500 SL that I remember was registered to GF Entertainment. Godfather, I guess that's it for Godfather Entertainment. Who decided to give that to Shug? Yeah, the one that Michael just was like a gift.
Yeah, yeah, Michael. I know Shug needed a car, and I know Michael said get Shug whatever he wants.
Okay.
Everybody got cars, and it got Dre what he needed. I mean, if you look at it, Michael was really telling them, hey, how to run the business. We never thought that it would turn out this way. You know what I'm saying to you? Because Michael know how business is supposed to look, and even when Snoop came along, we wasn't focusing on Snoop. It was the DOC, and then I was the one told them, hey, I don't know nothing about rap. I don't like rap. I said, but that guy here, y'all need to put some money into him.
And he was a Texas boy. Like you, right?
Yeah. So I'm just telling you how things turned. I don't know why they turned. You know what I'm saying to you? That's a question that, everybody mad at each other right now, calling everybody out their names, But
it's unfortunate, though. Do you know it was like 4 people that, I guess, 5 people that have all claim ownership of Death Row at one time. From Dick Griffey, the DLC, Suge and Dre, and now Harry and Lydia and David Kenneth.
Hey, you got to look at it. If Suge trying to get everything off the ground, Suge's going to go to whoever you need to get to get to
That's true.
Level. You know that, Reggie.
Yeah, I know how to get down. Yeah. Well, I wish you the best, and you said if you get even 10% of that money, I know I don't know you like that, but you say you're looking for a person to help. You can help your boy.
No, Reggie. I'm gonna help you. You'll see what kind of lady I am. For real.
I heard. I to be honest, and when people like Jewel and they'll speak of you, and I could tell, sure, even when he speaks on you, it's always good things. I mean, I know I'll sit there and watching make that remark. But I know Suge is
Yeah.
uh, Suge really wants to be a comedian. Most people don't
Yeah.
get it and don't understand it. They take him because of his size and all that as a bully. But Suge is really a big comedian. And
And Suge is a good dude. You know what I'm saying to you?
yeah,
And a lot of people used to say, Liz, you're not afraid to have something to do, you know, something, have you killed? I wasn't afraid. You know what I'm saying? The
yeah,
one thing about it, if a person has a heart and they know where you stand and the things that you've done, Suge ain't stupid. You know what I'm
correct.
saying to you? So that's all I kept knowing in my spirit. You know what I'm saying? If he's that type
Gotcha.
of evil guy, then he would have been had me knocked out. Not saying that I never heard that Suge wanted somebody to do something to me, but I didn't feel it in my heart.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And that's the God honest truth.
Yeah. I remember the female that he was around. You got any stories of Paradise? That's the one that I remember.
Somebody from Texas.
Yeah, that always had most of the dealings with you guys.
Yeah,
That was
Paradise.
Suge at the time.
She loved this Suge. Yeah, you know she was a cool girl. She
Yeah.
really was. She loved this Suge, and it just said, hey, she was just another one his
Okay.
girl.
So you didn't have a personal relationship. Okay. I
No,
was
we
just
was
trying to
cool.
see
We was
something.
cool.
Yeah.
She said,
Yeah.
Lydia is the only person I trust around my man. That's what she told me. That's what she told me.
Oh, Paradise. She was crazy.
Yeah. And she
Well,
would do whatever for sure. She really would.
exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
Well, we appreciate this, and like you said,
Okay.
the next time you come in California and you want to get in on camera, let me know, and
I'm
if
gonna be
any
hey, no,
people pick
no,
up on
listen, I'm
this,
gonna be there soon. Trust me.
okay.
And I'll give you a
Well,
call.